So the last two questions in the oral comprehension check, we have to discuss that first, and then some important exercises we'll discuss. Okay. But in between, if you have any query, any doubt, you can always ask me. Okay. Yes, here it is based on the last part of the story. Was Lancho surprised to find a letter for him with money in it?
No, Lancho was not surprised to find a letter for him with money in it. Instead of, he was angry.
Instead, he was angry. Okay. Now here, one thing I want to tell you, Anmol, your answer is no. Okay. But now in class, in the higher classes, you simply cannot give answer in yes or no. You have to give the reason to support your answer. Okay. So when you say that he was not surprised to find a letter for him with money in it, then you have to give the reason. Why do you think he was not surprised?
Because he not get enough money. Was he what?
Are you sure? Just think of it again. Yes. You see that the money he had checked later. First he had found that letter, right? When he found that letter, the postman handed over the letter to him. He immediately took it, and he was not surprised that, oh, I got a letter from the God. No, he was not surprised. Later on, he checked money also in it. But the point here is, why do you think he was not surprised? Yes.
Because he did not get enough money.
No, Anmol, listen carefully. He was not surprised because he had a firm faith in God, right? So he had already assumed that he would get a reply from the God if he had written a letter to him. So when he wrote the letter, he was expecting a reply. Okay, he was expecting a reply, that he was not surprised because he had a firm faith in God. He was sure that he would get a letter from God. So that's why he was not surprised. He thought, oh, I knew. I had written a letter. You see that when you write a letter to someone, then you understand, you realize that, oh, definitely you will get a letter from the other one. Right? So the same kind of feeling he had because it was his faith in God. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So he opened the letter, he opened the envelope and then found the money in it. What made him angry?
He became angry when he counted the money in the letter. Because Lancho had demanded 100 pesos, but he get only 70 pesos.
Right, right. So here, one word you have to correct, Anmol. Don't say demanded. Right? What did he do? Did he demand?
Wish.
He requested.
Okay.
He requested, he wished. Yes, that is also right. Okay. He requested God, or he wished God to get him 100 pesos. But he discovered that the money was not sufficient as it was only 70 pesos. So that made him angry. Anyway, you made a good attempt. Fine. Yes. Any doubt anywhere?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's see these questions. Who does Lancho have complete faith in?
Lancho have complete faith in God.
Right. Lancho has complete faith in God. Which sentences in the story tell you this? You might be having your book with you. In the book, you browse and tell me the sentences which express Lancho's faith in God.
Okay, ma'am. But in the hearts of all who lived in the solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope, help from God.
Right, right. Any other sentence?
He wrote to God on the envelope.
Right. But before that, Lancho thought only of his one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. This also made him believe that God would help, right? Then, of course, he wrote a letter to God asking for 100 pesos, right? Okay. Why does the postmaster send money to Lancho?
The postmaster sends money to Rancho because postmaster doesn't want to shake his faith in
Right,
God.
right. He didn't want to shake his faith in God. Add one more sentence here. He wanted his faith to be firm and intact, right? Actually, what it is that the postmaster himself was also a God-fearing man. He also believed in God. So when he found Rancho, he never wanted to shake his faith, right? So you would say the postmaster sends money to Rancho because he was amazed by the firm belief of Rancho on God. The postmaster himself also had been a firm believer in God. He never wanted to shake his faith, rather, he wanted to keep it firm and intact. So he sends money to him, right? Why does he sign the letter God?
Ma'am, what is the meaning of this? Ma'am, he is a master here, postmaster or Lenchu?
Where? Why does he sign the letter God? Who signs the letter God?
Lenchu signs the letter God.
No, who signs? After writing the letter in the end, who writes God?
Postmaster.
Right, postmaster writes. Okay, this is the postmaster who writes, who signs, who puts the signatures of God. Do you remember?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So why does he put those signatures? Why does he sign God in the letter?
Because Lenchu sent letter to the God for for his request.
Okay, but that was not God sending him reply. That was not God sending him reply.
Because he wants to keep his faith or hope in God alive.
Right, correct, very correct. It's the same answer. Right. He signs the letter God because he wanted his faith to be alive. He wanted to make him believe that God has heard his call or God has heard his request, right? And is there to help, right? Now, do you think the postmaster has done by signing the letter as by God? Do you think that there could be another way also? Yes, Anmol. Just give your own idea. Sometimes you get such questions. Yes. See, if you ask me, I would say that he could have written the letter on his behalf also, but he should have written to Lancho that God has assigned him the duty to help his men in need So Lancho, you are in need. So I have arranged money for you at God's behest. So please accept this. Did you understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? He could say that also instead of signing as God. He could say, because God cannot come, God cannot write, but he could convince him and make him believe that God always helps his devotees. So he has assigned me the duty to help you. Right? And then perhaps, that you see that towards the end, what happens? Is Lancho grateful to the postmaster and the employees?
No, ma'am.
No, he is not. Why he is not? Because he is unaware. He is unaware of the contribution made by the officials at the post office. And if the postmaster had written this very information, perhaps he would have expressed his gratitude to the postmaster and his men. Is that clear?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if there is usually that such questions you will get in the long answer type questions. So there you can be given the situation. If you had been in place of the postmaster, had you signed the letter as God, or you should have thought of another alternative. In that case, you can write this. Write in detail, elaborate it, because it's a long answer. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's go to the next. Did Lancho try to find out who had sent the money to him?
No.
No.
Lancho did not try to find out who had sent the money to him because the letter has a sign of God and he was unaware of it.
Right,
When
right.
he count the pesos, it was only 70 pesos.
No, you are not supposed to write about how much money he got. Okay, let us be very precise, fine? You would say, this is very correctly you said, that he didn't try to find out who had sent the money to him because it had been signed as God, the letter had been signed as God. So he believed God has sent him the money. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Who does Lancho think has taken? Here in the third question, I would say, yes, just as you had been adding the answer. If the question is for 2 marks, very precisely you will give the answer. If the question has more the weightage, then you can add. Okay, because he believed that God has sent, then he checked. However, he found that the amount was not complete. That made him sad, but he did find the money without knowing who had sent. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Who does Lancho think has taken the rest of the money?
Lancho think that the officials of postmaster
Post office.
post office taken the rest of the money.
Have taken the rest of the money, right? What is the irony in the situation? This
Ma'am,
situation is very ironical.
what is the meaning of irony?
Yes. Irony is a literary device which the writers use, right? Irony is when you say something, right? You say something, but something happening is exactly opposite to it, right? Or in simpler words, what you say, its meaning is just opposite to that. What you say, it doesn't mean that actually. That is irony. right? Irony is something when you expect something would happen, but in actuality, something happens just opposite to what you expect. I hope you understand,
Yes, ma'am.
right? So this is what irony is. Now, here in the story, I will explain to you. Here in the story, when Lancho received the envelope with the money, what did we expect?
Lancho would surprise and thankful to the god.
Right. We thought that Lancho would be grateful that he got the money. But just opposite to that, what happened?
He said to the post office officials, a bunch of crooks,
He called them bunch of crooks. Why did he call them bunch of crooks?
because
What was his mood at that time?
he was angry.
He was angry, right? So what is the irony here? We expected that Lancho would be very happy and would be grateful that he had got the money. But just opposite to that, when Lancho found the money, he became angry and he was disappointed. In fact, he had expressed his suspicion and anger for the post office officials, calling them or naming them as bunch of crooks. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So this is what we call irony. We thought he would be grateful, but in reality, he suspected them and he called them bunch of crooks. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So here you can also be asked a question, do you think there is irony in the story? You would say yes. Then simply you have not to say yes. You have to tell where it is, at which point of the story, and what is that irony that as we had discussed right now. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Shall we go to the next?
Yes, ma'am.
Now here is another question. Are there people like Lancho in the real world? Do we have such people in the real world also?
Maybe.
The people who are never happy, who are never satisfied. They are never thankful to others.
Maybe.
No, we do have. We do have such people. We do have such people. Many a times it happens. You help them a lot by feeding them, by giving them money whenever they are in need. But when you need them, there is no guarantee that they would be there to help you. Doesn't it happen?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So this is what, yes, we have the people like Lancho in the real world also. We have so many people around, those who are never happy, never content. They are never grateful to others. What kind of a person would you say he is? Here are given the words. Now, what do you think that which of these words apply to Lancho's character?
Ungrateful.
Ungrateful, right?
Selfish.
He was selfish? No. He was not selfish. He was knave.
Ma'am, what is the meaning of knave?
Knave meaning he was not concerned about others. Right? But we would not call him selfish. Okay. Then he was unquestioning. Unquestioning meaning he had been believing God blindly without realizing that God is an imagination, it is a faith, it is a belief, or he really exists there. So he had been believing God blindly, thinking about the existence of God. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So you would say, yes, we have the people like Lancho around us in the real world. There are many people whom you help, but they are unconcerned. They are not concerned about you. They are ungrateful. They are never thankful to you. Rather, they are complaining. And some people who expect from others a lot, believing thoughtlessly, that others would help them whenever they ask for. But they do not understand sometimes others are also helpless. And then they have strained relations with them. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now there are two kinds of conflict in the story. Humans and nature, and between humans themselves. We discussed humans and humans, isn't it? We
Yes, ma'am.
discussed humans and humans. How? How was the conflict illustrated between humans?
Ma'am, between postmaster and Lancho.
Okay, you just illustrate how. Just try to elucidate. Yes.
Lancho has complete faith in God,
Right.
and he wrote a letter to God.
Uh-huh.
When he post it in when he mail it,
Uh-huh.
the postman get it to the God, and and sent to the postmaster.
Uh-huh.
Postmaster and post office officials were surprised. Uh, they get
Uh-huh. Anmol, you are not supposed to give the summary of the event here. Okay, beta. How you would say that there are two kinds of conflict. One is human and nature, the other is between humans. First, we'll discuss between humans. He believed, Lancho, a man, a human, believed in the existence of God. But Lancho, the human, did not believe in fellow humans. Right? That's why when he got money, he thought that God has sent the money. But when he found the money insufficient, then he suspected the fellow humans that they might have robbed him of his money. Is that clear?
yes, ma'am.
Right? Now here, the conflict between the humans and nature. How is there the conflict between humans and nature? The humans, Rancho, had been waiting for the rain. Right? He had been waiting for rain. When it rained, he was happy, but when it rained heavily, he became upset. When it turned into a hailstorm, he felt devastated because his whole crop was destroyed. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
This question is very important, Anmol. Do remember. Okay? So you must prepare it properly. Yes, shall we go to the next?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we'll take up one metaphor, the question on metaphors, because so many metaphors have been used in the lesson, and then vocabulary skills. Yeah, thinking about language. Now, the writer has used the words like hailstones, shower, hailstorm, etc. Right? A strong wind began to blow along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. Now, this falling of hailstones, that is the balls of ice that fall like rain, it is a hailstorm. And storm is always bad, destructive. It's an indication of bad weather. It is usually accompanied by thundering and lightning as well. Now, there are different names in different parts of the world for storms, depending upon their nature. Here are given a few names: gale, whirlwind, cyclone, hurricane. Hurricanes in the west part of the world, in particular in America, they call it hurricane, tornado, typhoon, right? So here what you have to do, you have to read these descriptions and you have to fill up these blanks to make a complete word, which is given here in this box. All right? Yes. Now, what is it? A violent tropical storm in which strong winds move in a circle.
Cyclone.
Cyclone. Good. An extremely strong wind.
Gale.
Gale. A violent tropical storm with very strong winds.
Typhoon.
Typhoons. A violent storm whose center is a cloud in the shape of a funnel.
Tornado.
Tornado. We pronounce it as tornado, right? A violent storm with very strong winds, especially in the Western Atlantic Ocean.
Hurricane.
Hurricane. A very strong wind that moves very fast in a spinning movement and causes a lot of damage.
Whirlwind.
Whirlwind. Hurricanes, so far as hurricanes are concerned, I tell you something very interesting. In America, when the hurricanes come, then they give a name to the hurricanes. They had Rita hurricane, they had Williams hurricane. This is how they give names. Okay. Yes. Now here is the word hope. Hope has been used many times in the story, right? There are two sentences picked up from the story only. What you will find every time, the function, the meaning of hope is different. The first sentence, I hope it passes quickly, it meaning the hailstorm. Another sentence is, there was a single hope, help from God. I hope it. Here the function of hope is that it is acting as a verb, right? An action word. And there was a single hope. This is, here hope is a noun, right? So hope is a verb in the first sentence, but hope is a noun in the second sentence. Now here what you have to do in this exercise, in column A, there are given descriptions. In column B, there are given the meanings which are related with hope, the word used in A column. So you have to match it very carefully.
Ma'am, first.
Yes.
Will you get
the subjects you want to study in college? I hope so.
Wishing for something to happen, although this is very unlikely.
No, it's not wishing. I hope so. Will you get the subjects? Will you get science? Will you get commerce? I hope so.
Wanting something to happen.
No, child, it is thinking that this would happen. When I say I hope so, it means it may be or it may not be. I'm not sure. Right? Okay, let's go to the next. I hope you don't mind my saying this. but I don't like the way you are arguing.
Showing concern that what
Right.
you say.
Good, good, good. Showing concern that what you say should not offend or disturb the other person, or it's a way of being polite. Yes. Now, the next is this discovery will give new hope to HIV or AIDS sufferers.
A feeling that something good will probably happen.
Correct, very correct. Good. Now, the next, we were hoping against hope that the judges would not notice our mistakes.
Wishing for something to happen.
Right, wishing for something to happen, although this is very unlikely. I called early in the hope of speaking to her before she went to school.
Wanting something.
Right, wanting something to happen, meaning I wanted to speak to her before she went to school. Just when everybody had given up hope, the fisherman came back 7 days after the cyclone.
Stop believing that this good thing would happen.
Right, stopped believing that this good thing would happen, right? So how we can use hope in different ways. Now here, let's come to this exercise, metaphors. So many metaphors have been used. Frozen pearls, right? Crest of the hill, etc., etc., right? So
Yes,
what you have to do, look at this table. You have to complete this table with the objects which have been used for metaphorical reference and which quality has been compared. You have to tell. Just as for example, cloud. Cloud has been described as huge mountains of clouds, right? So what is the comparison here? That is the huge size, the density and the vastness of the cloud is being compared with that of mountains. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now raindrops.
New coins.
New coins, or simply coins also you can say, right? Yes. So what is a feature being compared here?
Uh, a help or source of earning.
Right, that is the money. Money that the coins will bring, or money that the rain will bring. Okay? Yes, hailstones.
Frozen pearls.
Frozen pearls. Yes, which quality is being compared here?
Uh, the field was covered with salt.
No, that is different. It was brightness of pearls, whiteness and brightness of pearls. Pearls are white and bright, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So those hailstones, they were compared as frozen pearls, meaning as bright and white as pearls. All right. And then you said that it was covered with salt. Yes, again it is hailstones. And the metaphor is it was covered with a sheet of salt. So salt is also white. So again, what is being compared here? The whiteness of the salt. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
A locust. Locust.
Plague.
Plague. A plague of locusts. Right? So what is the quality being compared here?
That they would not being so destruction like hailstones did.
The plague of locust is an epidemic. It is already given in the next column, right? It is an epidemic. Plague is an epidemic which is caused by the rodents or the rats, right? Which is very destructive. So that very epidemic has been used to compare the impact of the hailstones. So it has been compared with the attack of the locusts, right? Okay, the next. Can you think of any other object? Here is given the feature comparison. An epidemic that spreads very rapidly and leaves many people dead.
No, ma'am.
Plague. It is plague.
Okay.
Right? And metaphor is plague of locust. The same repetition. Okay, come to the next. Yes. Now here the metaphor is an ox of a man. Who has been called an ox of a man?
Lencho.
Lencho. Now which quality is being compared here?
Hardworking.
Hardworking, strong, sturdy. Right?